This video is all about recommending foundations for people that have acne with different types of skin. If that makes sense. Sally might have acne and Billy might also have acne. Sally has oily skin with acne and Billy has dry skin with acne. Well, they can't wear the same foundations. Well, you technically could if you want to argue that, but it's not going to look as nice. Because when you have dry skin, you have to try to stay away from foundations that are really, really matte. And matte just means that it's a drying formula, so you don't get shiny spots on your face. So if you already have dry skin, and then you put a foundation on top of that that's a dry formula, it's going to accentuate that with patchiness. But Billy kind of has a harder time because Billy's dry skin with acne. It's really hard to find a foundation that is high coverage when it's not a matte formula. When I was on Accutane, my skin changed from oily to dry because before going on Accutane, I had oily, acne, bad acne skin. Then I went on to Accutane, and I was breaking out like crazy, but my skin was getting more and more dry. And I was using the same foundation, it was looking terrible, and I was like, no, I need a better foundation. So I'm going to recommend you the foundation that I used before I went on Accutane. So I recommend this for people that have oily acne skin. It mattifies your face and it covers extremely well, or at least the best that I've come by. So that foundation would be the Estee Lauder. That's the brand of it. And I'll put everything in the bottom bar, so, because I'm not going to pronounce things right. And I'll even put the link of the actual website so you can read up on that too. So this is the Estee Lauder, and it's called Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. So the brand's Estee Lauder, and the type of foundation is Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. Like I said, this is the best foundation, the highest cover. It's the best foundation because it is the highest coverage foundation and the most matte. Okay, so you don't need a powder for this. I had such oily skin that my eyelids were oily, and I hated that. So I would put like a dab on my eyelids because it was so disgusting. I didn't need before. I used to put a powder on my eyelids. Now you just put this foundation into like a tiny bit. Sorry, my back's itchy, and it would mattify everything. This thing lasts all day. This is good if you have bad acne because it's high coverage. If you have oily skin because it will not slide off and it will mattify your face, and you do not need to powder. Just try it. I really recommend this foundation for people that have oily skin with really bad acne. Let's say you're not using that foundation, and because that foundation I said you don't need a powder. Let's say you aren't using that foundation and you need a powder to mattify your oily skin. This isn't like covering up more of your acne. This is just the mattifying part. So the foundation that you're using, that if it's not this and you need a powder to mattify it, it would be the Marcel, and that's the brand, and it's called pressed powder. And I'm in translucent medium, which is the lightest, even though it says translucent medium. This was around $12. I'll put a link to the actual website in the bottom bar. It just looks like this. And, oh, sorry. Okay. And it's just a pressed powder. Some people use a brush and they just dust it on their face. That to me never works long enough. So what I do is I grab, a sponge, something like this, and I go like this and wipe it across and I dab it, like push it into my skin. I don't use, that's a tip if you want a longer lasting powder. Okay, so the next foundation is for people that have dry skin with really bad acne. Because when I went on Accutane, my skin was breaking out like nuts at the beginning, like really bad. In one of my videos, I described it as like ducklings in a row. So I tried using this, and it looked bad. It accentuated. My skin was flaky because it was so matte and like a dry formula and soaked up the oil. But I didn't have any more oil to soak up, so it looked bad. I wish I had pictures to show you. And I I asked the lady, I need something with high coverage that's not like a matte formula. So she ended up picking this one, the Elizabeth Arden Intervene. So the Elizabeth Arden is the brand, and the Intervene is the Intervene Octane OX8 lotion. That's going to be the bottom bar. This to me has the same amount of coverage as this. However, here's the however emphasis. This foundation, I need to put a little bit more layers because this is medium to full coverage. I couldn't find a formula that was high coverage enough, without it being matte, and I found medium to full coverage seemed pretty popular when a formula was semi-matte. So it's not completely matte, but it's kind of matte. And this, because I found no dewy foundation covered me up well, I tried them. This to me was the best coverage that wasn't a matte formula. So I would have to put maybe 3 or 4 thin layers. This one, you need 1 or 2. That is the however part. So if you're in a rush and you need coverage right away, you probably will use this. But like I said, this is only good if you have oily skin, because you will look terrible. I'm sorry, I'll break it to you if your friend won't. This one is so pretty. Like if I didn't have oily skin, I would use this all the time. It gives you a really nice sheen. So if I were to use this while I had oily skin, I would powder my T-zone with this. But now I have dry skin, and I don't even need to powder it with a semi-matte. So that's how dry my skin is. I love the look of this. It doesn't make me dry. It's the best coverage I can find with a formula that isn't completely matte. Okay, so I hope that made sense. So this is my recommendation for people that have oily acne skin, and for people that have this one would be for people who have dry acne skin. This one's $45 and this one's $40. Basically, this is what I used before I was on Accutane, and this is what I am using now. Okay, so I realize those are expensive. They're even expensive, like for me. They are a hefty, thing to buy for something to put on your face. So you probably want a drugstore recommendation. I don't have one. However, I can tell you probably the best, highest coverage foundation for drugstore. I don't have a recommendation of a foundation that's for dry acne skin, because I find that when the formulas weren't dry, they were terrible coverage and would cover nothing. I tried. I'm cheap. I don't want to spend $40 on a foundation. I don't care what brand it is. But a foundation I would recommend, that is for oily, so it's the same type of formula as this, as oily and acne foundation, would be the Revlon, which is the brand, and the type is Color Stay. And this one was for combination oil. They do have dry to normal formula. There's no coverage on that for me. Okay, so people are you're probably thinking right now, then why don't I just buy the Revlon if it's the same thing and it's cheaper? This does not cover half as good as this. This foundation does not last half as long as this. So, but this is the best, lastest. Oh my gosh, these adjectives I cannot put in a coherent sentence. This foundation is the best I can get for drugstore for the most matte and the longest staying. I still need a powder with this, even though it claims to be, a matte formula somewhere. I used to use this when I didn't know anything could be better than this, and then I came across this, and I use this all the time. I don't even need a powder for this. So, recommendation for foundation for oily and acne skin, I don't have one for Billy, who had dry acne skin, so Sally can get her drugstore version, even though it's not as good as this. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions or anything like that, or advice, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in my next update or foundation routine or something along the lines of that. Okay, bye.